Luján and Martin Heinrich voted to use the people of New Mexico as pawns. Why are we actually here today? Day 41, 42, I think, the government shutdown. A government shutdown that was caused by our very own U.S. senators, Luján and Heinrich. Our very own U.S. senators decided to vote to shut down the government instead of voting for a CR that they had voted for 13 times prior. The very same CR. They decided to vote against it. And I know my friend is going to get up and talk about how Trump sued. Well, actually, Trump didn't sue. The states sued because Trump didn't think he had the authority to pay SNAP benefits, so they sued to make him pay SNAP benefits. So he went to court, yes, to have a judge tell him that he could pay him. And he said, we'll gladly pay him. Then another judge has said, well, no, you don't have to pay him. So we'll let the courts figure that part out. And what's actually legal for the federal government to do, our own governor just spends money and we do nothing because we don't care about the co-equal branches of government in our state. We want our state to be run by the monarch upstairs. Sorry, Howie, that was not directed towards you. You're just a temporary. But the monarch upstairs has spent $380 million when she was only authorized to spend $180 million. And you know what we're doing about it today? Absolutely nothing. But when it comes to what happened in Washington, let's be very clear. Luján and Martin Heinrich voted to use the people of New Mexico as pawns to force the government to pay for subsidies for the Unaffordable Care Act. Something that many of us who were here 13 years ago talked about in committee, talked about on this floor. You know, I don't remember if we were even recording back then, but if we were, you can go back and hear me talk about the Unaffordable Care Act. And you know why they're holding it up? Because the subsidies sunsetted. That's right. They put a sunset clause in like we do sometimes. Those sunset clauses were expiring because the Affordable Care Act was supposed to fix health care affordability. That's what everyone on the left side of me said. Those of you that were here, yes, I'm talking about you. You stood on this floor and told me how the Affordable Care Act was going to fix it all when it came to health care. Luján voted for it. Martin Heinrich voted for it with the sunset clause. But now their sunset clause is expiring and they don't like it. And so we're going to shut down the government. We're going to not pay the military that protects this country. In fact, they had the opportunity in a separate bill that would have funded just the military. You know what our wonderful U.S. senators did? They voted no. They voted against the military. Then they ran a bill that would just fund all the federal workers, you know, like the guys, the air traffic controllers, you know, those guys that have been working now for 40 days without pay. How many of you could afford to work for 40 days without pay? I'm guessing not very many. I know in our state not very many could, but they're being asked to. You know the people that check you in security as you're going on to the plane? Well, at the airport, not onto the plane. They're not getting paid. So they ran a separate bill to pay them and the military. Do you know how our U.S. senators voted? They voted no. No, we don't want to just pay them. No. That's how they voted. And that's why we're here today. Because the federal government has been shut down. And now 21% of our families are going without food stamps. Now, what's funny is we don't want to talk about or even think about the fact that 21% of our population is on food stamps. The highest percentage, by the way, in the entire country. We don't want to talk about that. We didn't come up here and say, hey, let's solve that and figure out how to get these folks to work, how to get them good jobs, how to make sure our economy is running strong. No, let's tax it more so we don't grow. There's a lot of things we could be doing. We're going to do this, and we need to do this, and I agree with doing this, and I will be voting yes today because it's something we need to do. But let's not forget how we got here. Let's not make up stories. Because our two, who are supposed to represent this state, voted no 14 times. Thank you, Madam President.